Here we go, picking it up at line 4 in the Latin. Is he, however, moreover, who was taccabat, who was quiet, and which was dicabanter, and the things which were said ab alis by others, audibant, he was listening to, and neither per contare, neither was he asking questions, if parum intellexerat. So if he understood anything leastly, or he didn't understand anything well, the things quae orderat which he'd heard, he was not allowed to ask questions nor to make comments. Faces, this was the law, or the divine nature is sort of religiously ascribed to it, but it's a philosophy school. Okay, but quizquam, but no one, tacwit, was quiet, not minus, quam biennium, than 2 years. So it was not less than a 2-year period in which quizquam anyone had to be quiet at this school. Hi, these people were appellabator, they were called prosis, usually means forwards or absolutely or something like that, it's just an adverb. Inter the tempus, inside this time of tachyende, of being quiet, they were called acousticoi, or in Latin, audiendi, the listeners, where we get audience in English from. 5. Asked, but, ubi, when didicerant, when they had learnt the res difficilis, the most difficult superlative matter of all rerum, of all things, to be quiet and to listen, and yam, now and already, coipert, they began to be erudite or very learned in silence, or the art of silence, to them, or to this person who was a quizquam earlier, where we see quizquam, anyway, it's a singular, they were given the nomen, Greek word, echimethea or something. Okay, and then tum, then, to make words, and to querere, to make questions, and the things which they had, or dissent, the things which they had heard to write. So then they were allowed to speak, ask questions, and to write what they had heard, and which the things or what their opinion was themselves. Potes, that person would be able to exprimere, to produce or bring forth these opinions and words from that slab there. 6. Hi. These people, with dicabantor, were said in eo tempore, in this time, to be mathematicoi, which is what they call science. So they're basically scientists. And from these artibus, from these arts, skillicet, obviously, which now they were inceperant, they were in the inception stage, they were beginning to discere, to learn and to meditate or to study. Quoniam, since these were geometry, these are part of these sciences here, which the mathematicoi study. So it's mathematics, geometry, genometram, making sundials or something, music, and the rest of these things. Item likewise, or the same sort of things in these disciples. Altiors mathematica, the ancient Greeks, the veteres Graeci would appellambantum, they would call them altior mathematica. Autem, however, the vulgus, the common people, whose gentikillo, this is of a gens of a race of a tribe of peoples, they ought to call them Chaldeans, because the Chaldeans were called mathematicians. You see, is it Curtius Rufus or something, one of these things dealing with the East? The astrologers are called mathematicians, mathematicos, and vocabulary is the word for them. 7. Ex indi, just a bit like de indi means from here on in sort of thing. In these scientific studies, ornatite, so they're decorated and equipped with these sort of things, to the perspiciending of opera, to looking into or seeing the works of the world, sometimes mundi is the universe, and the principia of nature, the principles of nature, you might want to say, they proceeded to this stage, and tunc, then, deniqui, finally, when nomen bantor, they were named, physoikoi or something, I guess we get physics from that. Okay, 8. That's actually philosophy or something. Anyway, these things, supos, we saw, it's usually like the preposition de, concerning Pythagoras, our Taurus, this is the Latin way of saying his friend Taurus, he dixesse, he said these things. Now, however, moreover, he said, isti, those people who all of a sudden repente with in lotus pedibus, unwashed feet, or without preparation, I think that's a phrase, they divert it, they turn to the philosophies, they turn to philosophy, and they're not satisfied with this, and omnino altogether. We've got some Greek words here, we'll start with A. They want to give the laws or the conditions in what they learn, in which they discount they learn philosophy. I'll just look in the lobe for what that is. Without purpose, without learning, without scientific training. That must be what it's on about. 9. Alias. One person. 8. He says, Doc, the imperative, teach me this primum, teach me this first. And item, likewise, alias, another one says, Volo hoc, I want this. Oh yeah, I want to learn this. And he says, and another one, he says, Nolo, I don't, discre, want to learn, istud. I don't want to learn this. And hic, here's another person. He guessed it's to incorporate. He's wanting to begin with the Symposium of Plato, propter on account of the Commissationem Alcibiadae. This is feasting and revelry. I might as well look it up. Okay, so Illy, it's the last of this bit. Another person on account of the orations of Lysae wants to learn the Phaedro. Okay, so here's commissato, female noun. Carousing, merrymaking, feasting, revelry. Lewis and Short's also got bacchanal procession rioting, so it wouldn't be a riot, I don't think. Anyway, back to the plot. 10. There is also, or even, one who says, pro Jupiter, by Jupiter, who postulates, who demands to legere from Plato, not for the of ornanding his vitae. How do we see ornate? Yeah, it's up here used for equipping or being well versed in, not to make his life any better, but lingua and orations gratia, for the sake of, gratia is post positive, follows genitive, for the sake of commending or making his language and orations better, not so that he becomes modesti or more modest or down to earth, but so it's more lepidi or more elegant and charming. 11. Hake, these things, Taurus Solitus was accustomed to decorate, to say about the novicos sectors, the new sects of philosophy or the new followers of philosophy, pensitantem, weighing them up with the veteribus, with the older ones of Pythagoras. Okay, commende, that's, you can think of that as combing your hair. That's when they adorn it. I think it comes from como. It's making more elegant or something. 12, the last verse for the day, said, but this also non praetoriundum should not be passed by or overlooked, that omnes, all of them, at the same time, or similac actually, as soon as they are recepti, they received into the cohort of the disciples of these disciples by Pythagoras, what quisque, what each one of their of family and of pecunia and of money that they had, this includes their estates, was dabat, was thrown into the middle. It looks like communism or something. And coebator, they were joined in an inseparable society or alliance, tamquam, just as that of the Anticum Consortium, which is a word for the ancient consortium or alliances or grouping or whatever you want to call it, which by jure and verbo, by rights or laws and words, are called in, there's Romano with verbo, Ercto non cito, which there's something to do with the Aeneid here. See Servius on the Aeneid, Ercto non cito, id est yeah, basically it's a undivided inheritance. So it's an inheritance which cannot be divided up. Yeah, well, that's it for the day.